Hello my dear friends, and welcome back to another video. John Williams, the legendary composer, is retiring from film. The 90-year-old's music is the sound of multiple generations' childhoods, having composed some of the most legendary scores in all of cinema history. As Star Wars fans, his music has been the heartbeat of our franchise and the entire Skywalker saga. Of course, most recently in Star Wars, he composed the main theme of the Kenobi show, and overall, we have so much to thank him for. After more than 6 decades of making bicycles soar, sending panic swimmers to the shore, and other spellbinding close encounters, John Williams is putting the final notes on what could be his last movie score. In his own words, he says, "At the moment, I'm working on Indiana Jones 5, which Harrison Ford announced will be his last film, so I thought if Harrison can do it, then maybe I can too." And just to say, my dear friends, Ford, for the record, has not made that statement public yet. And Williams, who turned 90 in February, is not sure he's ready to either. He says, "I don't want to be seen as categorically eliminating any activity. I can't play tennis, but I like to be able to believe that maybe one day I will." Addressing Star Wars specifically, this is what he said: "A Star Wars film demands 6 months of work, which he notes at this point in his life is a long commitment. Instead, Williams is devoting himself to composing concert music, including a piano concerto. Bless you, John Williams, and thank you for all of the incredible music you've given us." And this, my dear Megalorians, is the perfect segue to our first real update. Nicholas Britell, the composer of the Andor series, has opened up about what we can expect the show to sound like. The series that releases on August the 31st is the next big Star Wars project, the much anticipated prequel to Rogue One: A Star Wars Story. And as I always say, guys, this is going to be the best of all the Disney Plus Star Wars shows. Trust me on that. Comicbook.com say that Nicholas Britell is a busy guy with his work on Succession and the live-action Lion King prequel, and yes, I'm dead serious, they're actually making another one. But Britell says that he's still working on the Andor series as of last week. Speaking to Playlist, the composer says, "I'm working on it right now. You obviously have the breadth of the John Williams Star Wars legacy, and you have what Ludwig Göransson has done recently with The Mandalorian. I have to be very careful of what I say, but I will say they've given me an incredible amount of freedom, and I think it's very important for what we're doing on Andor. Everyone agrees it's very important that it has its own sound world. I can't say enough about how wonderful the experience has been, and I'm so excited about that too. And I think the most exciting takeaway from all of this, guys, is his clear respect for John Williams and the legacy of the Star Wars sound. I think it's very likely he's going to incorporate some classic themes with his own score, and the best example of that is in Rogue One with Michael Giacchino's score. He did a phenomenal job, and to this day, I find myself going back and listening to that score every single week. So in the same line, maybe Nicholas Britell is going to use that as inspiration to make the continuity sound-wise between Andor and Rogue One consistent, because they're kind of one story. Tony Gilroy even admitted this. He said, "At the end of season 2 of Andor, we go straight into Rogue One." So musically, they might have some similarities, although I'm really excited about the possibility of something completely different. I trust Nicholas Britell, he is so talented. Now, in line of what we're speaking about, I think we should take a moment to talk about the importance of soundtracks in light of the Disney Plus Star Wars shows, because conversations about the Kenobi score have been popping up all over the place. I've seen so many folks say that the Kenobi soundtrack in particular was pretty lackluster and dull, and I hypothesize this goes hand in hand with the way that Lucasfilm tricked us into thinking Battle of the Heroes and Duel of the Fates were going to be in the show, because they did include them in the trailer. And while Part 6 did give us some classic John Williams themes, overall I would say I think this criticism does have some merit to it. There were certainly missed opportunities, and even this very morning I was scrolling through my YouTube feed when I came across some brilliant fan edits that overlay the last duel with Obi-Wan and Vader with some of the Revenge of the Sith score, some Battle of the Heroes and Anakin versus Obi-Wan. And even after John Williams, some of the composers who are new to Star Wars, just think of The Mandalorian, Rogue One and Solo. They brought something very new musically, and they grasped the tone of those projects while still bringing the Star Wars magic to the score. The Qi'ra brothers do it all the time in animation, but in the case of Kenobi, it just did not hit the same. And it's not that Natalie's score was bad, it was beautiful, but it all comes down to the fact that with legacy characters in a franchise like Star Wars, lack of score continuity is so detrimental, and we felt it the most with Vader scenes when there was no Imperial March. As I said, they did use it for one scene in Part 6, but too little too late. So in addition to Natalie Holt's score, which I will admit was lovely and elegant, I wish they would have included some other motifs that we're familiar with, kind of intertwine the old with the new. But now that the Kenobi series has come to an end, we look to the next Star Wars show, which is Andor. I have such high hopes for it, and I'm sure it's going to be one of the best Star Wars projects. A political spy thriller about one of the most fascinating characters in the Rebel Alliance. When we meet him in Rogue One, he's one of the most intriguing and brave rebels that we've ever come across, but that wasn't always the case, at least according to Tony Gilroy when he spoke with Vanity Fair. Cassian's early life on Fest was full of struggles, challenges, and he had to learn to survive on his own. His father was a separatist sympathizer, and as such Cassian grew up during the Clone Wars, viewing the Republic as fundamentally evil, but not as evil as the Empire that overtook it when they destroyed his planet at a young age. As he says in Rogue One, he's been in this fight since he was 6 years old, and Gilroy says that in this show, he is still rough around the edges. We're going to see his entire life up until Rogue One, and the show will jump around the timeline quite a bit to show us some key moments from Andor's journey. From his background fighting clones on his planet to eventually being recruited by General Draven when the Empire took over. There is so much to be hyped about, and I'm so excited for the nuance they're going to give to him. I love politics in Star Wars. Political Star Wars storylines are fascinating, especially when coupled with character development for one key fascinating protagonist, and that's what we're getting here. So finally, my dear friends, let's talk about Liam Neeson, who's broken his silence on the Kenobi show. He of course appeared right at the end as Qui-Gon Jinn's Force Ghost. Some would say he was wasted, and in a way the show ends by teasing a story that fans actually want to see. Qui-Gon training Obi-Wan in how to become one with the Force, but now Liam Neeson has opened up about what it was like returning to this franchise. He played it coy for so many months, but now he's opening up. Speaking to The Hollywood Reporter, Liam Neeson revealed what encouraged him to sign on for an on-screen cameo as a Force Ghost in Part 6. He said, "I certainly didn't want anyone else playing Qui-Gon Jinn, and I wanted to show my respect for George and that mythical world he created. Plus, Ewan is my pal, and I loved working with him during The Phantom Menace 25 years ago. It was great to see him again. He's had such an amazing career, and of course, in 1999, he graced our screens in The Phantom Menace as Obi-Wan's master, Qui-Gon Jinn. And we've all wanted to see his return for years, and he's not just in the Kenobi series, but also, along with his son, voicing Qui-Gon Jinn in Tales of the Jedi." I made a video the other day explaining why Tales is going to be such an important series. Go check it out if you've not done so, I promise you'll love it. So finally, my dear friends, I want to talk about Crimson Reign issue number 5, which just came out. It was an absolute banger, and it includes so many story elements that we need to talk about. Palpatine finds out that Crimson Dawn is out there and making moves against them. He also realizes it's not just the Empire who has a new enemy, it's also the Sith. Qi'ra is ballsy as hell and has some crazy aspirations. I don't think she'll get there in the end, and it's probably not going to end well for her. But Crimson Dawn had embedded its agents at every level of the Empire. Not only did she poison the entire Crimson Guard, but she also had the Knights of Ren brazenly pull a heist from Vader's castle on Mustafar. So in Crimson Reign issue 5, while Palpatine and Vader are getting up to speed, Qi'ra is making moves. She's got the Knights of Ren and the mysterious Archivist to take their stolen plunder from Vader's castle to an ancient site for a Tomb Raider style quest. The Knights suffer big, but the quest is successful. The Archivist gets hold of an ancient Sith artifact that will presumably hurt Sidious in some way, but to buy herself time, Qi'ra enacts a plan she's been building since knowing a ticking clock was overhead. She activates every single agent of Crimson Dawn and their allies across the galaxy, and this is to create chaos for the Empire. Shit is about to go down, guys. But this is the final issue of Crimson Reign, because the final arc of the trilogy is going to be the Hidden Empire, which releases this fall. I can't wait to cover it, and as always, I will do so when it comes out. So with that said, my dear friends, that brings us to the end of this Star Wars news update. If you enjoyed this video, you know what to do. Please give me a big fat thumbs up, subscribe if you're new, and also, why not check out the links down there in the description. You'll find my Patreon page, where you get access to videos not found here on YouTube, and also my merch store, my new merch store, which includes all of the popular designs. That's down there in the description. But until the next one, my dear friends, may the Force be with you always. Have an amazing day, no matter where you are in the galaxy.